All right. All right. Good morning, everyone. This is Larnie Mulvey, and this is the Standing in Strength Summit number 2. I am so happy to have you all come in on the Strong and Mighty page and sit and listen to all the amazing power speakers. I was just talking to, it's just posting a live, letting everyone know that the power speakers on here are going to provide so much value and so much like self-talk and a lot of encouraging words for everyone out there. And I'm just so glad to have you guys here. So first of all, let me introduce myself again. My name is Larnie Mulvey, and they call me the Power Lady. And why am I the Power Lady? Besides the fact that I'm a power lifter, that I have deadlifted 402 pounds off the ground, I love talking about all realms of strength. And that is the exact reason why the Standing in Strength series is happening, because I want to make sure that everyone is living and being the most powerful, the most stronger version of themselves. So these summits are going to be awesome and amazing, and I can't wait to have another series coming up here in October. So that's just a little bit of a highlight. So for all the listeners and watchers out there, I just wanted to let you know that there is this is my mug, but I will be giving away 2 of these mugs to the listeners, the people who have talked or have commented the most or been interactive in the groups. But this is my mug. You guys can't have this one, but I'll give you guys a brand new one with a new lid and stuff. So I just want to let you know this is something that's coming out for you guys. So anyway, this summit, we have 19 speakers coming on. It's going to be today, starting at this time, 9 o'clock to 11 Central Standard Time. And then the second session starts at 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's today and tomorrow. And on Saturday, it is from 9 to 11, only Central Standard Time. So I just wanted to make sure I made that clear for everyone. So please continue to hop on to this page. And also the replays will be on here too. So if you missed any of the amazing speakers that are speaking, you can always come back and go back and listen to everybody. So anyway, just to quick reminder, these speakers will be talking about the realms of strength. You know, I told you guys how much I love talking about strength. The realms of strength include entrepreneurship, networking, mentorship, health and wellness, fitness, and a lot of leadership aspects as well. So the speakers will be talking about how in their businesses, in their skill set, how strength is intertwined in every single one of those. Now we have to remember that strength is not just a physical thing. Everyone thinks like, oh my God, you're the power lady. We're going to talk about like powerlifting and stuff. No. We don't talk. I'm not talking. I could talk about powerlifting, but no, we're not talking about that. We're actually going to be talking about how strength, including the mind, including the heart, and emotionally, how all that intertwines to make a strong version of themselves, of yourself. So the speakers on here will be sharing their journeys. They'll be sharing a lot of information that they have learned throughout their business careers to help everyone out. But also this is a connection. We want to make sure we are building the connection to everyone, because when I started my entrepreneurship journey, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I have no idea what to do. So I had to find the courage to reach out and ask people and connect with people. And let me tell you, I was so scared. I was so scared. I didn't have the confidence that I have now. I had confidence, but not how it is now. I had to build this. Over a year. I had to build her. And that's why I continue to try to connect other people, because I know that there are other people out there who are looking for the connection, who are looking for the help, who are looking for assistance. And really, that is one of the main reasons for the Strong and Mighty Summits. And also it builds on the pillars of the Strong and Mighty company of positivity, community, and also that confidence. So we want to make sure we are building that. So let's get started. I mean, I already have my first guest sitting in the waiting room, like itching to like hop on and like talk. And I love to interview these speakers. And, you know, like, it's just amazing to have them hop on and have them be on the Standing in Strength Summit. So with further ado, I have my first guest speaker. Her name is Tina Torres. I'm going to let her introduce herself. She's so amazing. I love her energy and the fact that she loves pink as well, as much as I do. I am so glad that she's on. So I'm going to bring her on here and then we'll get started. There she is.
I love your energy too. So early in the morning.
I know, right? It's like how people are go, how do you get that energy? And I'm like, you know what? I got my first big cup of coffee here. This is my Hello Kitty cup. You can't win this cup. Oh, I love that. You can't win this cup. This cup is special for me. So yeah.
I used to love Hello Kitty when I was younger. I have little Hello Kitty trinkets like that I have saved from when I was a young kid. So I've loved pink ever since I was young.
I'm not going to lie. I used to deny the pink.
You used to deny the pink?
Yes. I used to be like, you know, pink. Oh my God. But now I'm just like, pink? Pink?
You know, yesterday was National Pink Day.
No way.
It was International Pink Day. And so, you know me. I love pink. My whole branding is light pink and white and the blood. Yes. But, you know, a couple of years ago when I did the rebranding to the pink, I never realized what the color pink meant. And if you look it up, the color pink, you would die. It is the color of gratitude.
So let's talk about that, Tina. Let's before we start talking, because I know we could probably talk and chit chat forever. Yeah. you know how we have to sometimes get a
yeah. And what happened?
Yeah. You know how sometimes we have to get that sip. So anyway, okay, your bio is so cool. You know, to me, it's like so cool with everything that you do. I'm gonna let you go ahead, introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are.
People introduce me with my bio, and I'm like, who is that? Oh,
that's me.
I'm like, oh, that's me. She's talking about me. I was like, oh, I thought I was next. That was me. Well, obviously, you know, I'm Tina Torres, the client retention expert, otherwise known as the gratitude specialist. And I've been doing this for about 15 years now. And I started off in a direct sales company. And when I would go to networking events and everything, I would meet people. I would get their business card. I would go home. I would write them a little note. I would put my business card in there. I would send them a little follow-up card. And everybody was like, oh my gosh, Tina, you're like the follow-up queen. And so I kind of switched from the direct sales company that I was in to teaching people how important follow-up is and how important gratitude is. And in the last 3 years, when you were talking about strength and, you know, getting over things and overcoming things and having that strength, I may not have physical strength. Well, I probably do have physical strength, but
you do.
Not 402 pounds. I was like, when you were saying that, I was like, oh my God. I don't want to make her proud. But I think with the last couple of 3 years that I had to go through, the stuff that I had to go through, I got a divorce after being married for 20 years. I was in a very toxic, abusive relationship for 20 years. And I was able to get out of that. It took a very, very long time to get through it. And I'm still healing through the process. But I think that is a different kind of strength. And then I had to go through the process of becoming an empty nester when all 3 of my boys moved out of the house.
I still can't believe you have 3 boys.
Right? And it took 27-year-old. I'm like, wait, how are you 27? I'm 27. Yeah, so and then becoming an empty nester, that is like a different animal all in itself, because you were mom and wife for so long, and now you don't have that title anymore. Now nobody needs you. And with me, I always put my kids and my husband first for everything. I never took care of myself. I never did anything for myself. I always, they came first for everything. So I got a divorce. I became an empty nester. I lost a 6-figure corporate job, and I moved to a different state where I knew no one at all.
Oh, wow.
I did all of that within a 6-month period of time. So I think that kind of strength is a different kind of strength. It's that mental strength, that heart, and I think every time you go and you do anything like that, you have to process the whole thing. And for me, I'm a kind of person that holds everything in. I don't like to tell people my struggles. I don't like to tell people nothing. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm perfect. I'm this. Only put perfect things on social media. Only put things on social media. Don't let nobody see that you're falling. Don't let nobody see that you're crying. Don't let nobody see that you're breaking down.
Yes.
But over the last year and a half, I have been able to get the strength to start telling my story. And to find out that all of these people around me, and we host a morning talk show and have millions of people watching us, and having so many people reach out and say, Tina, I'm going through the same thing. Tina, thank you so much for telling your story. I thought I was by myself. And so having the strength to tell your story, having the strength to get through those kinds of things, and then taking that strength and turning it into a story, and taking that story and turning it into something that you can help somebody else with. And I think that kind of strength is a completely different kind of strength than the kind of strength that you have, 402 power strength. But with all the speakers that you're going to hear over the next 3 days, you're going to see the different strengths that people are going through, the different struggles that people had to go through. And it is all different. And I think each and every one of us have some kind of strength and weakness. We all have, we all have weaknesses and strengths. And it is how you get through those. It's how you get through those hard times. And I was able to take that and turn it into 2 best-selling books and help people learn the attitude of gratitude and how to take that gratitude moment and turn it into something huge.
Yes. And it's awesome. What I have learned from you as well, I mean, I know that we have not worked together a lot, but even what I've learned from you, just observing and watching and understanding the living in that gratitude mindset, it had to flip on me. I really had to flip that, because I was living in that almost like that selfish side where I'm just thinking about myself so much. But then when I started this journey, I was when I flipped it, when it finally clicked, I feel like I'm living the happiest part of my life right now. I'm doing this. I get to talk to people like you. I get to talk to other people like Dawn and everyone else. And it's just amazing. And I just sit there like this.
Right. Wow. And in awe.
Yes.
Right. Wow.
Yes.
You always you have this, I met with a friend of mine last night for dinner, and she was like, I had this thing in my head of who you were. You were this big person and da 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 da. She goes, and now that I get to know you, she's like, not that I didn't love you before, but now I'm like, you're normal.
You're normal.
What you see on TV, I feel like people think that it's some big celebrity status. It's not. What you see on TV is what you get all the time. I'm, funny, and I'm very loud and full of energy, and what you see is what you get. I'm not this person on TV and then this person at home and then this person in front of my friends.
Yeah.
I want all those people to know, and all of your listeners to know, that whatever it is you're going through, all of us, the people at the top, the people in the middle, the people in the bottom, we have all been there. We have all gone through horrible things. We all go that comparison type where you're looking at social media and you're like, oh my gosh, she's doing so well, and how come I can't do this, and why can't I do that, and having that, that selfish type of thing. But we all do it, and we all do it to ourselves. But then take that gratitude and say, what do I have? What am I grateful for? I have great friends, I have a good family, I have my health, I have this, I have a new client, even if it's the small things, because the more you're grateful for things, the more the universe and God is going to give you to be grateful for.
Yes.
So to me, I just think the gratitude starts with, whatever it is, it starts with gratitude. Every morning, every night, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night, and that's all it takes.
So what is your gratitude habit? Like, do you have a habit that you do every morning, every day, like to start?
Yeah. So every morning I try to wake up between 5 and 6. And
AM?
No, PM. No, yes, and let me tell you, I used to not be a morning person. And I used to stay up late night and get up whenever I wanted to. And, I'd stay in bed drinking my coffee. And I still stay in bed and I still drink my coffee. I just do my things. So the first thing I do is write in my gratitude journal. That's the very first thing I do. And I put 5 things that I'm grateful for. And it could be new things. It could be things that that just happened. It could be, I just met with a friend yesterday. It could be whatever it is. I write down 5 things that I'm grateful for. I am grateful for, my family. I'm grateful for my friends, whatever it is. I'm grateful that it's finally sunny outside when it's been raining for a couple of days, whatever it is. And then I go into prayer and meditation. And I do a lot of meditating. And I just learned this a couple of years ago, just to kind of, like you were doing earlier today. You were on the live and you were kind of out there just.
Yes.
Because I'm a very high energy, anxious person. And I'm like, get it done, get it done, get it done, get it done. And I don't take time to breathe a lot. I don't take time to stop and smell the water. And I know that about myself. And I'm going 100 miles an hour nonstop all day long. And so I had to teach myself to step back and breathe. And so when I start that in the morning, I kind of continue that throughout the day. And then from prayer and meditation, I go into a visualization process. And I close my eyes and I kind of visualize what I want my life to look like in 2 years, in 3 years.
I love that.
I put myself in the house that I want, in the, with the decor that I want, with the husband that I want, the money that I want, the car that I'm driving, how much money's in my bank account, what my house looks like on the outside. Just like everything. And I put myself in that and I go through a whole visualization process, what I want my business to look like. And then from there, I read 20 pages in a book. I read a book every single month. So I read 20 pages in the book that I'm reading that month. And then what else? Oh, I write my to-do list, my get-to-do list, not my to-do list. And it is just things that I want to get to do that day. And this all takes about an hour, maybe a little bit more, but about an hour. I drink, by that time I'm, have my cup of coffee, and then I get on the treadmill for, 20 to 30 minutes, and I'm listening to, a motivational person or somebody on YouTube, or I'm watching one of my shows that I watch. So whatever it is, and then I get on the treadmill for 30 minutes. So that whole hour and a half, it's all self-care. It's all me. And I make sure that I do it every single day, no matter what. I drink lemon water in the first thing in the morning too. I'm trying to think what if I'm missing anything. But if I don't start my day like that, my whole day is crazy, like completely and utterly crazy. I'm getting up. I'm like, making sure this is done and this is done, and I'm crazy, and I don't have that time to myself. Oh, and I wish I would have known that when my kids were younger, like to get up earlier and to do all of this before my kids got up, because it was chaos in my house every single morning. Where's this? Where's my shoes? Where's my plates? Where's my water? And I'm like, But now I'm like, I wish they were all home again, because I'm like, oh, I miss my kids being young. But now I'm in that other stage in my life where it's just me. You know, I'm single, I have my kids at home, and now I can focus on me and my business and work on that personal development without any distractions. And so I think that gratitude and having that routine is so important for your personal strength.
Sorry, I got my pen out because
my hair's like all coming into my face. Go ahead.
I got my pen out because I got to take these notes.
Yeah,
like these notes. It's. I love your routine. I love that it's not like like for me, my routine is to get up around 6:30. Well, 6:30, my one eyeball is open, and then the other one opens up at 7. So, and then I go walk my dogs, and then I have my conversation. While I'm walking my dogs, I have my conversation with the universe, with God, and I ask. I put it out into the universe. Like I ask about
intentions out there.
Yes. Can you please give me, please provide me with the strength I need today to do the summit, and like not. Yes, I'm going to be nervous, but yes, I'm going to be scared, but give me that energy. Like I had to do that. That's why I did that live before we hopped on, because I wanted to get it out there. I wanted to get that energy out to the universe and make sure that the universe knows my intention of why I'm doing this summit. And I love
if you don't say it exactly what you want. Exactly.
Yes.
The universe don't know. Like, I was reading a book yesterday, and it's the last law of attraction book you ever read. It's one of my clients. His name is Andrew Cap, and it's an amazing book. So it's my book that I'm reading this month. And he says, when you go to Dunkin' Donuts and you ask for a large iced mocha latte and 2 glazed donuts, they're going to give you a large iced mocha latte and 2 glazed donuts. You have to ask exactly what you want.
Yes, exactly.
You're not going to get a dark coffee with no cream and sugar and a blueberry donut and a jelly-filled donut. You're not going to get that because you didn't ask for that. If you tell somebody, hey, go get me a coffee and a donut from Dunkin' Donuts, they're going to be like, what kind?
I don't know.
Like, what kind do you want? So, like, when you tell the universe, you tell God what you want, I want a man in my life. Well, what kind of man do you want? Tell me exactly what you want. I'll get it for you. I need more money. Well, how much is more? $1 more? $5 more? How much is more? Tell me exactly what you want so I can give it to you.
Yes.
And you have to be that specific with things. Act like you're going to Dunkin' Donuts and ordering the exact coffee that you like, not that Lonnie likes, that you like. So Lonnie, what do you get when you go to Dunkin' Donuts?
Oh, I have that spiel so precise already. I like when I go to Dunkin' Donuts, it is a medium coffee with a turbo shot, cream and sugar. Thank you. It's like I say the same thing every time.
And mine's a large iced mocha latte, no whip.
And you spoke my language. You said donut. I love donuts. So, I got to make sure. I mean, it's not something I eat every day, but it is like a treat once in a while when I go and have my coffee.
The donut that you buy at Dunkin' Donuts?
Sugar raised donut. That's all I get.
Okay, and I get a glazed donut. I mean, so you can't go to Dunkin' Donuts and say, hey, Lonnie and I want 2 coffees and 2 donuts. Because her coffee is different in her mind. My coffee is different in my mind. She wants a medium. I want a large. Mine's iced. I mean, you have to tell the universe and God exactly what you want.
Exactly what you want.
And I had to learn this because I got so beat down when I was in my marriage. And so, you're not worth it. You're not enough. You can't do this without me. And it gets embedded into your brain. And whenever it is that you're going through and you're hearing that over and over and over and over again. And as many people as watch the morning show and people, my clients and my coaching clients, and people who have bought my books are, oh my gosh, Tina, you're amazing. I love this. I love this. You always have that thing in the back of your head. You're not good enough. You're not worthy. You think you are. You're never gonna. This is not for you. That person does too much. This person knows this. You don't know that. How are you going to do this? Who do you think you are? You know, you have these things. And so you have to turn that mindset around. You have to have the strength to turn that around, to tell people and to tell the universe and God, no, this is what I want. I am this person. I am worthy. I am enough. I am perfect for somebody. I want this person in my life. And you have to be that specific. So when you're talking to the universe every single day, and you're talking to God every single day, and setting your intentions, you have to set those intentions like you're going to Dunkin' Donuts every single day. I want a large iced mocha latte with no whip and a glazed donut.
Oh my gosh. I love that. I love that analogy because it's very simple and very specific. I mean, really, that's what it is. So Tina, tell us how to connect with you. Tell us about your books. This is we call in the Let's Talk Java show that I have on Sundays, we call it the toot section. So this is like a great way to toot yourself.
And you know, and I hate that because so many people are like, "Oh, you're toot your own horn, huh?" Who else is gonna toot it?
Yes.
Well, you have to toot your own horn, and it's hard, especially for people like me. It's very hard. But I do have a 5-day Mastering Your Follow-Up class for all of your people who want to join. It's a free 5-day class. You're going to get videos and a workbook and all this, and it teaches you everything you need to know about how to connect with your clients, how to attract the right clients, and how to keep them for a lifetime, convert them into clients, and how to get that referral, all of those kinds of things. Because you know me, I love to build those relationships online and offline. And I love connecting, just like you do. I love connecting the right people to the right people. But so many people do not know how to build relationships first. They try to sell. And I'm all about motivating and inspiring, all about inspiring people to do and to be better. So you can grab that 5-day masterclass if you go to masteringyourfollowup.com. masteringyourfollowup.com. You get a 5-day masterclass. And then if you want to buy my books, there's a link in there as well. It's Beyond Gratitude, Strategies to Attract, Connect, and Convert More Clients. And then, of course, I have my gratitude journal. It's a 365-day morning and night, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. Gratitude is free. You do not have to use my journal. You can grab a journal at TJ Maxx. You can grab a piece of paper. Gratitude is free. And if you just do 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at nighttime and do it for 90 days, your whole life will change forever.
Yes.
And of course, you can go to Tina Torres, the Gratitude Specialist, anywhere, Instagram, Facebook. I'm all over the place.
Yes, she is, everybody. Yes, she is. You can get a hold of her. That's how I ended up stalking her a little bit, trying to ask, should I ask her? Should I ask her? And then I sent her a message. So she is connectable. Connectable? Gosh, our words today are just, right. You know what? It's fine.
Inspirative. What did I say?
Inspirative.
Inspirative. There you go.
Well, Tina, this has been a great conversation, and I'm so glad. I mean, I know I took some notes, and I was like, got my pen. I'm like trying to watch you, but like right at the same time because again, I mean, that's the purpose of the summit, is to get this information. I mean, and to connect. This is an event that allows people to come in and take notes, things that they can take with them, like, your morning routine.
Yeah.
That is important. Like a lot of people don't have morning.
That is free. All of that is free. The whole morning routine, it's not something that I had to buy. It's not something you have to buy. It's all that you just have to take an hour right when you wake up, and you have to be committed. And you have to have the strength, because it takes strength to commit. And you have the strength to commit to it. And it's an hour. And then see how your life can change with just doing that morning routine. And it's free.
Yes, totally agree. So thank you so much for hopping on this morning, because first of all, I love talking to you, so thank you. But also just everything that you have said, you have taught me a lot, and I want to make sure that there are other people who are learning from you through a summit like this, because, there's not many people, maybe maybe the people that I know, they're just like having the same idea as me, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. So I know you have to get to your show. So
I got to jump on my morning show.
I know. So I wanted to say thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon, and I'll make sure that put all that your information so people can connect with you on the group page. So thank you so much. You have a great day.
You guys have a wonderful day, and have an attitude of gratitude all the time.
Yes. Thank you. Bye. So everyone, that was Tina Torres. She is an amazing, amazing person. And I am so, so thankful that she was able to hop on and share her message about living with gratitude, sharing her habits in the morning to prep herself, which is awesome, because I know exactly how she feels. If I don't have a morning routine, I get so like, oh my God, what do I need to do? What I need to do, So I'm so glad that she shared that about her routine and got the energy going, get the energy started for this summit. So I want to thank her for that. Again, if you're just hopping on to the Standing in Strength Summit, I am Larnie Mulvey. I am the power lady that everyone talks about. I have one of my mentors, Crystal Richardson, who's going to be hopping on to the summit this weekend. She coined me the power lady because she always saw me in a power bun. But today, you guys get the special all done up look for you guys. But all right, so moving on to our next guest speaker. Okay, I have Sue Winsbury, who is coming in from another part of the world, which is amazing. And I met Sue at another group, another one of my mentors, Don Bates, who introduced me to Sue, and I love the energy that she we went through a 21-day challenge in the group, and the things that Sue had taught me, or I learned from her, was very interesting. So I wanted to bring her on. She's actually going to be on the summit twice, because, hey, why not? Why not bring an energy today and tomorrow? It's great practice. So I'm going to bring Sue on and have her introduce herself, and we will get started with her interview as part of Standing in Strength. Again, thank you all for being here today this morning. So let's see. Hello, good morning here.
Good afternoon here.
So Sue, the energy queen, as you can see on her title there on the bottom of her screen, her energy practice, is that the best way to say it?
Practice modality. I tend to mix a lot of things up together.
So I am so glad Sue's going to be talking about that and how the energy is important to building our strength, but also to build our bodies. We have to have that energy every morning. The question that sometimes I always get is, Marnie, how come you have so much energy? And I'm just like, I think I just draw it from the world. I draw it from the positivity around me. So Sue Winsbury, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little about yourself.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here, Lonnie. And I loved your last chat. I'm just like so much energy fizzing about there. I'm
it's a big fan of coffee. It's my big cup of coffee. I tell everyone, like, you can't have this cup. This cup is not for sale.
So I'm a big fan of morning routines because it really helps ground in our energy. It sets us up for the day. So I am Sue Winsbury, the energy queen. I have 20 years experience in health and well-being, and the thing that lights me up most is working with energy on all levels. So I'm a chronic fatigue and burnout recovery specialist. So I like working with the physical side, with the body side, but I also love working with our more energetic bodies, our quantum fields. We all have an energetic frequency, an energetic body, and the higher that we can raise that frequency, the more magic transformation we experience in the world and we give out into the world. So energy on every single level.
Yes, awesome. So what got you into working with energy?
I can only say it was a calling. When I was a teenager, I was really interested in different types of energy. I used to read about people's sort of reincarnation, all that kind of thing. But I have to be honest, back in the 80s, 70s, there wasn't really a lot to go on because we didn't have the joys of the internet.
Yes.
I had to go to my local library and find a book. And there wasn't a lot about energy at the time. So my resources were very limited. But I just had this knowing inside me. There was just something inside. And then I didn't come from a particularly spiritual kind of family or anything. So I just found boys and gin and partying and that kind of thing instead, you know. And I was very lucky when I had my children. I was able to take a complete career break, and I remember flicking through a local newspaper, and there was an advertisement for a course on spiritual healing being held at an agricultural college of all places, 10 minutes down the road. And I was just like, oh, I wonder if this stuff works. I think I'll go and do the course, and then I'll know whether this stuff works. And it was like coming home, putting my comfy pair of slippers on and just going, oh, here I am. So that for me was how it all started. It was just, I think I was divinely guided to find that advertisement because it was very small. It was in the back of the newspaper. It was just like, you need to be there.
Yes.
And so it's evolved from there.
Isn't it interesting how the universe brings you these little things? You know, like, you know, the universe is energy. It's energy that surrounds us, and how it kind of like diverted you to look at that. You know, it's really cool. It's really cool. I love that.
Absolutely.
So tell me, Sue, how does energy build your strength, your inner strength? How did it do that? How did it like make you the energy queen that we see today?
So I work on my energy all the time. So for me, our energy is multi-layered, and we hold all kinds of thoughts, beliefs, traumas, experiences in our energetic frequency. So it kind of tallies up with our subconscious, but we keep everything in our energy field. And we can have it kind of clogged up with the murky stuff, or we can keep it as clear as we like. So for me, it's about clearing as much of the unwanted, so the beliefs that don't serve, the experiences that maybe haven't been positive, but they're all part of a learning. For me, there's never a mistake, it's just a learning. But we're very good at remembering negative experiences, keeping them caught up in our subconscious, and they dictate how we think, how we behave, how we feel, and we're much more hardwired to holding on to the negatives rather than the positives.
Yes.
I think the default of humans
is to hold on to that negative.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so hard to, like, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was having that, you know, like sometimes you have those down days. And then you start like thinking like, oh my God, am I good enough? Am I doing? And then it's like, how do you get yourself out of it? So when you're working with clients and people, how do you get them to break that? Like, how do you get them to, you know, get themselves out of that funk, really?
Depends on the client and the situation. So sometimes I've got quite a detailed intuition, and sometimes I can kind of go, this is your inner child talking here. You know, your inner child is having a bit of a foot stamp moment, or you're in a, or you know, there's a bit of victim energy going on here. Let's have a look at this victim that's going on. So I tend to challenge those, and then I use different energy techniques. So I use tapping, so EFT. I use a modality called EAN, which is where we use our body sway, because your energy doesn't lie; it will give you the answers. Sometimes I will just encourage people, and we'll just keep asking questions like, where does that belief come from? And what's behind that? And what's behind that? And what's behind that? And what's behind that? And we get right down to the hub of it, and usually it's something pretty rubbish.
Yes.
So once we can reframe that and kind of go, do you know what? Do you want to hold on to that? Yes, no, your choice.
So tomorrow when you're coming, I'm having you come on twice during the summit, because I really feel like today was a great introduction to what energy is and what you do. But tomorrow, if you don't mind doing like a little bit of an energy, quick technique, showing us energy technique tomorrow, that would be great, because I think it will have like a great spin on that day for us. I have a lot of energy in general, but I want to make sure that I'm sharing my energy with people, and virtually and wherever I'm at, it's like I feel like that is something that's part of everyone. We're like sharing our energies, and I can't wait for for you to show us like a quick technique to like share our energies, because that's really building part of our community, building our confidence and positivity within ourselves. So Sue, how do people get a hold of you if they want to speak to you more about energy and things like that? I'll ask you this again tomorrow, but let's get the ball rolling today.
So you can find, I've got a website, which is suewinsbury.com. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Sue without an E, Sue Winsbury. So I'm under the same name everywhere. Makes it nice and simple, nice and easy. Keeps the energy nice and clean.
So one quick question, one last question before we hop on to the next speaker. What would you give us energy for today? What would you want to share with us today that we can take with us for the rest of the day?
Isn't
that a great? I love that question.
So many things. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the energy. There's an energetic scale. So different emotions have a different frequency and vibration. So we all vibrate as human beings. Our energy vibrates. We look at research from the Heart Math Institute. Our hearts emit an electromagnetic frequency. It's more powerful than the frequency from our brain, and this is how we read each other. So your heart is actually your primary brain, because it's reading energy first, then it sends a message to your brain, which is why we sometimes connect. When you walk into a room and you might look at someone and go, oh, I really want to go and meet them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's just your heart's reading their frequency, their energy. And then there's other people where you kind of go, oh, I'm just going to give that one a wide berth. Don't know, never met them before, but I don't like them already. So your heart's emitting this frequency all the time. And depending on what your frequency is, depends on who you attract into your life, what you attract into your life, which is why when you talk about gratitude, we're elevating our frequency. If we stay on the frequency and the vibration of depression, guilt, shame, sadness, boredom, all of those things have a low vibration. So we tend to kind of go, get stuck in that. Whereas if we can use different practices to get into the higher emotions, the highest ones are love, joy, and freedom. Gratitude, appreciation, peace. If we can feel into those and practice getting into those states every day, then that's how your life shifts, because you're in a literally a different frequency, and everything in the universe vibrates on a frequency.
So do you believe that your body has the answers? Do you know, like it has like some, like you just said you can feel people's energies and stuff. Like, do you sometimes feel that your body tells you the right way or the wrong, you know, like it gives you the warning signs? Do you believe that's part of that energy?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Your body is incredibly wise. Your body is talking to all of us. You know, our bodies speak to us all the time. And it can be, even physical symptoms are always a manifestation of something kind of emotional or some trauma. You know, there's always an emotional or a metaphysical link with physical issues. Sometimes we don't want to know those things, but there's
true.
Your body's definitely talking to you. And I know with the work that I do with people who burn out, their body will have been talking to them for a long time, and they've just not been listening, or more often than not, they've been too busy to listen.
Ooh, you know, that too busy to listen. How do people get out of that? You know, when you're coaching your clients, like how do you get people to be like, hey, you know what, you need to listen. You need to listen to your body.
I think some people will only listen when it's too late. So yes. You know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You can give people all the warning signs. You can say, this is what I'm seeing. You are going to burn out if you carry on like this. But certain personality profiles, they tend to fall into people pleasing, not wanting to let anyone down, putting themselves at the bottom of the list, having a very high expectation of themselves. So it can seem, stepping back can almost seem like a failure for some people. And the body will keep going, hello.
Yes.
I'm going to wipe you out for the weekend. I'm just going to give you a little message here, but it's just like, I haven't got time to be ill. I haven't got time to stop. I'm going to push on through this. Yes.
I 100% agree with that. Because like sometimes you know how I kind of like, go, no, you're fine. You're fine. And then all of a sudden I'm just like, no, not fine. Not fine. Like, 2 weeks later, nope, not fine. I even have had to tell myself that, you know, like I can't continue to be running by myself. I have to ask for help. And then once sometimes it doesn't go my way, and I'm just like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? I'm not good enough to do this. Oh my God. And then that wormhole opens of like that doubt, and that fear sets back up. And so like, I have to make sure that I'm checking myself. So when people fall into that, like, are there questions that you can ask yourself? Do you have any suggestions like to ask yourself to get yourself out of the wormhole?
Yeah, I think sometimes when you're in that wormhole, actually stepping outside of yourself and observing yourself and thinking about, you know, what's that person over there saying to themselves, and you kind of go, why would you say that to yourself? That's a really mean thing to say to yourself. I always remember I used to go into schools and do sort of anxiety training with teenagers, and I was doing an exercise where we muscle test the arms to see how much strength they've got, and then we say something 7 times over which is really negative, and muscle test again, and literally the physical strength goes. It's a kinesiology test.
Oh, okay.
So it only takes 7 times and your physical strength will disappear.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's a great exercise. And then obviously we change that and we say something positive 7 times over.
Yes.
I was doing it with a group of 16-year-olds, and this girl said to me, why are we saying these horrible things? Why would anyone say that to themselves? why would anyone say that to themselves? And I said, well, this is what most people do a lot of the time. And she'd obviously never spoken negatively to herself because she just didn't get it. She was just an absolute gem because she was like, I don't understand. Why would anyone say that to themselves? Like, what a beauty. If only all of us were like that.
So part of, I wrote a program, it's called the Tools of Strength program, where it takes you through phases of self-awareness, self-analysis, but then like, how do you help the community? So the one in the middle is about, what are you telling yourself? Like, what are you saying to yourself? Are you being positive to yourself? Are you, are you just thinking it? Is it just here, or are you saying out loud? So part of the program is to actually say it out loud, like say it out there, because your body needs to hear it and understand that just because you're thinking it, it's like not enough. Like you have to say it out loud so everybody can hear it too.
Yeah. And your body is listening. So when we say it out loud, we hear it as well. And every single cell in our body is listening to what we say to ourselves every single second of the day. And you think, all my little cells, I want to look after my little cells and tell them nice things, and even rather than tell them terrible things. So, but yeah, that verbalizing is so much more powerful than just thinking.
So my powerlifting coach, when I compete, even when I train, I used to have this really angry face all the time. Just be like that. And my body all of a sudden was giving me headaches. So every time I would like train and I'd be like, come here, and my coach was like, why are you so angry? He's like, your face, even though it's your face, like your body can hear that. So now I just like try to be all stone faced, and just when I train, I'm just like, and my lifts have gotten better. It's amazing how that works, right?
Yeah.
It's because you're bringing that energy into your body. So it's amazing how that works. All right. So again, so tell everybody, I know you're going to be on again tomorrow, but I want to make sure that everybody understands how to get a hold of you and where to find you if they have any other questions about energy in general. So go ahead, say that one more time, how they can get a hold of you and connect with you.
Okay, so you can find me on SueWinsbury.com. Track me down on Facebook. I'm in your lovely group. Hunt me down on Instagram, LinkedIn. Those are my platforms. So just remember it's Sue without an E.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure to put all your contact information today onto the group chat so everyone can see it. But so I wanted to thank you for hopping on this morning. I'm so glad you're going to be on tomorrow, because I think it's going to be so, besides the fact that I think energy is fun, because, you can kind of like loop it around yourself and be positive and things. So I love the idea of energy, and I'm just learning about it. I'm just learning about it. So it's very interesting to me.
I love it.
So Sue, thank you so much for hopping on this morning for us here in the States. You're out, where exactly are you at?
I'm in the UK. I'm in the south of England. So yeah. So
you guys, we're international. The Standing in Strength Summit is international. Yay. And we actually have someone else coming from Australia this afternoon, and another person from Brussels, and I love the connections that the Standing in Strength Summit has given me to be able to connect with Sue and to connect with everybody else in all these different countries. So once again, thank you, Sue. Thank you for hopping on this morning. And I look forward to our chat again tomorrow.
We'll do a little bit of an energy demo tomorrow.
Yes. So you have a great afternoon, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Lonnie. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, you guys, how amazing was that? I love Sue. I love the energy that she has. And I know that I love that there's that different levels of energy that I think is very, very interesting. And how she put it in a perspective of, you know, what your body is telling you is what is the right thing and what you should, you know, like, what are you telling your body? And to be able to to talk about my powerlifting coach when he like checks me on that, I think is hilarious. But anyway, so my next guest is Frances Manias. So I follow her on Instagram, and I follow her Iron Sisters. I ordered a sweatshirt from her, and it's the best sweatshirt I've ever had. But not only is the sweatshirt cool, but the message that she has with her training women and making sure that every barbell gets in everybody's hands, I think is amazing. Not only for me as a powerlifter, but it's so encouraging to see other women out there not being afraid of being strong and uplifting other women to be strong as well, just physically. And some people don't realize how much, for me, how powerlifting has helped me build my confidence and build what I am sharing with you all today. So Frances has been one of the people that I have been just watching on Instagram. The things that she posts every day is so encouraging for me. So I'm going to bring her on. I can't wait to talk with her for the first time ever. There she is.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Oh my gosh. I got to get my fangirl out just a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit, because I think you're an amazing woman, and I think your Iron Sisters program, your vision, your mission, I think is amazing, because when I first started powerlifting, I honestly didn't think I could do it. You know? And
it's common. It's a common thing, right? Something new, and we're programmed. In fact, you know, if I can jump in, we're programmed for self-preservation. And when you put a barbell on your back, or when you lie on a bench, or when you go to pick something up, right? Our first instinct is, I need to stay alive. I should maybe not do this. Okay. So that's common. But that's like anything in life, right? Anything. What do we tend to jump to? We tend to jump to I could never do that. Right?
Yes. So Frances, tell us a little bit about yourself, because I have like so many strength questions to ask you.
So you can find. So I could probably go on for a while, because I've been around a long time, Larnie. And
yes.
Not to age myself too much, but where did 2020 go? I don't know. And we're halfway done 2021. But so I'm going to be 48 this year, and I was trying to do the math. And when I first picked up a barbell, now I was 14, but that was not for barbell relating purposes. That was for sports. So as I went through the process of trying to become a better basketball player, I dabbled in a little bit of strength related stuff. But then it wasn't until, I actually jumped into a gym in the second, or leading into my first year, I guess, university, so that I could make sure that I would become a stronger basketball player, that the seed was planted for me to really consider, a barbell related or a strength related sport. And in that case, it was bodybuilding. So this goes all the way back to 1994, the 90s, even before the internet. And so I pursued bodybuilding. I transitioned out of basketball, out of team sport, pursued bodybuilding starting at the age of 20 and right until the age of 35. And so I can't believe now it's been 13 years since I last competed on the bodybuilding stage. And it took a little bit of time to transition to powerlifting, but that was always a seed that had been planted way back in the day in my early bodybuilding years. And so I transitioned to powerlifting because I was coaching someone else who had basically done powerlifting for almost as long as I had done bodybuilding. And then she came to me and said, Frances, it's time. You said you wanted to do powerlifting. I said, okay. She's like, you're competing in 6 weeks. I said, okay. And then basically the rest was history. Another one of my close gals said, I saw you do that powerlifting thing, Frances, I want to do it. And so then it snowballed from there. And before I knew it, we jumped into powerlifting. And then it became, Larnie, something that wasn't just for me anymore. Bodybuilding is a very soul and singular activity. No one can do the training like powerlifting, but nobody can do the diet. Nobody's there really to hold your hand 24 hours a day, because that's really what bodybuilding is. And so it's a very soul, very just into yourself, into your own head. activity. When we got into powerlifting, it quickly just showed me this was so much the opposite of bodybuilding. Not that bodybuilding was bad, okay? There's no good and bad here, and anybody can do either, okay? But the reality was that powerlifting really afforded the opportunity for community and for coming together. And perhaps it was the time in my life too, right? I'm in my mid-30s, kind of making that transition, you know, kind of figuring myself out a little bit better, being more comfortable in my own skin, all those things. But then it really became an opportunity for me to not only do it for me, but to help do it together and to do it for others, and to then timing wise help kind of catapult, you know, this amazing thing that's happened with the advent of social media and so on, to get more people aware and interested and supported and doing this thing we call powerlifting.
I love that part of, you know, that journey that brought you to here, because like when I grew up, I'm an immigrant. I moved to the States when I was 5 years old. And as an Asian American girl who doesn't have an idea of what's going on with American culture, and to be respectful to my culture, it's like, oh my gosh, what? And that identity crisis that I had when I was younger. And it's funny you say 94. I graduated high school in 1994. Right. And I was like, oh my gosh, where am I? What am I? You know, there wasn't that representation that I saw as someone that I wanted, because I knew I was athletic and I knew I wanted to be strong. Even when I was younger, I just didn't know how. And I didn't see any of that. And touching the barbell when I was growing up was a no-no. Yeah. It was a no-no. And I'm just like, but I want to touch like the heavier dumbbells and all that stuff. And I think that your vision of getting that strength almost in everyone's hands is amazing, because I wish I would have had that growing up, because I think that my identity crisis that I went through in high school, it wouldn't have been so big.
Yeah.
You know?
So you touched on 2 points. So one, you know, things weren't visible back then. I mean, I was lucky because I walked into a gym and there was a woman in her early 40s, and here I am, you know, 20, and I could see, you know, the gap was bridged. Even though age was a big difference, the gap was bridged with someone who said, I think you should do this. You have the genetics, you have the talent, you have whatever it was, right? And so I had that one person who said, you should do this, you know, and I'm going to help you, right? But looking around, it was like, we don't need 100. That's the bottom line. We only need one person to believe in us, right? And to say, you can do this. So that's part of the message that I like to give, which is, if you see someone, you know, yes, it's important that you do this for you, right? But it's our obligation to take and bring somebody else along with us, right? So that's important. And we've changed, we've evolved. I remember having conversations, you know, back in the day, even before Iron Sisters, when I was, you know, solely focusing my business on one-on-one kind of work at both men and women. So I don't discriminate in that regard. You know, if anybody wants to learn about strength training, we teach them about strength training. But I remember there was a very distinct transition when people would come to see me and they would share their goals. And it wasn't about, well, I want to be X amount of pounds, or I want to be in this size of clothing. I remember distinctly, it was probably 12 or 13 years ago when the first person said to me, I want to be strong. And it changed everything for me, because I thought, well, of course you do. Like, that's what I want to do. Like, why wouldn't you want to be strong, right? Yeah. But it was like the spark, right? And it was just happening. And then I began to see, that this is possible. This is now going to be the new goal, in particular for women, right? Because it's not this, right? There was this, strong is the new skinny, that started being, you know, tossed around and so on and so forth. But it was so great to see that. And then it's grown, right? Because then I've seen younger people younger gals, for example, saying, well, like, yeah, I want to learn how to exercise and strength training and do all this kind of stuff, but I want to do it because I want to be strong, right?
Yeah.
What I look like is not the number one thing. This is so important. And it might sound silly coming from someone who was in bodybuilding, but let's be real. Why was I doing bodybuilding? And again, it's my reasons for doing it are very different. Just like we can all have our reasons. One is not better than the other. But I was pursuing it as a physical and athletic pursuit, right? I came to it from that, and that was my purpose throughout the whole endeavor. Others come to a form of that now, as we've learned, transformations or physical changes and so on and so forth, for again a whole host of other reasons. But it's just great now that we have the ability to say out loud, my goal is to be strong, and I think that's really cool.
I fall into that. I fall into that mindset too, where back in the day, I thought I wanted to be a bodybuilder, and I was like, nah, it's okay. That's not for me. But then when I started lifting the heavier weights, the reason why because I knew I was strong and I was using it. I was like having that energy that I was getting from lifting the heavier weights. It built my confidence, and it built who my mind was, but it wasn't strong enough at that time in my 20s, because the guy that I was like introduced to like heavier weights and stuff, he told me I shouldn't lift weights because I was lifting heavier than him.
Right.
That's what he told me. And I was just like, oh, and it really deflated me. But I had to find my own personal strength again, to climb out, to try other things, but it still brought me back to the heavier weights, to the barbells. And that's what I've only been competing since 2019, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah. This is a battle that we have still today, and we'll get into that. But it's something that I think, confidence, right? So do it for you. When you hear the naysayers, we have to learn how to shut off, right? And just filter, right? Do what we have to do, filter, so that we can keep moving forward. Yeah.
So, Frances, tell me about the Iron Sisters camp and Iron Sisters in general. I've been wanting to ask this to you for forever.
Yeah. So as I like to share with folks, really, Iron Sisters began, at a time when many of us were not even aware of Instagram. Maybe we weren't paying attention too much on YouTube. We weren't still seeing. It seems like that's not even possible, right? Like, it seems like it's just everywhere, right? But I remember watching, and in particular, I remember watching Kimberly Walford for the very first time deadlift. This was the first time I ever saw a woman outside of maybe some of the old school Becky Swanson, and there was a few old school female strong women, right? Women strong men. I don't even know which one. We call them strong women now.
Yeah.
But in particular, this was the first time that I saw video of Kimberly Walford deadlifting. I don't know what it was at the time. It was well over 500 pounds. And then I found Jennifer Thompson, and I went, she's bench pressing over 300 pounds. My mind was blown, right? My mind was absolutely blown. And I thought, we need to know this. We need to share this with more people. Now, lo and behold, that would have just organically happened.
Yeah.
A conversation with my good friend Linda McFeeters, who one day, when she was a young gal, decided, well, I have a question for the Queen, so I think I'm gonna write to the Queen of England, and she'll reply back. So I have this conversation with Linda, and Linda reaches out to Kimberly Walford on some kind of social media platform, and says, hey, I've been chatting with my friend Frances, and she wants to do this thing. Are you interested? And she comes back and says, Kimberly said that she would come. So I just made it up. I said, we're going to do Iron Sisters. We're running this thing, and created effectively what is today known as Iron Sisters and Iron Sisters Strength Camp. 2014 was the inaugural event, and we invited Kimberly to come to Canada. We're in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, very close to Toronto, if you're looking on the map. And Kimberly flew in, and we ran our first event. And I know you've run a few events now, and you always know how things are to get things kind of up and running. And so, we grew that to an annual event in Canada with multiple what I call celebrity coaches. Even the second year was just fantastic. It just sort of exploded. And that's when, Jennifer Thompson came, and Rhea Stinn also joined Kimberly again. And Jennifer Thompson said in her little Jennifer Thompson voice, actually, I like to make fun of her, little teacher voice, this is so great. Like, we should do this all across America. And I'm thinking, like, right then, like, we're going to do this all. Like, I'm Canadian. How are we going to make this happen? 2017 rolls around, and we launched Iron Sisters USA. And between 2017 and 2019, we had 10 Iron Sisters USA camps. We hit both coasts, sort of from Brooklyn down to Florida. Ignore my, I don't know how you say that. From Brooklyn, New York, Florida, Washington, where were we? Washington State, all the way down to California, everywhere in between.
Yeah.
We're in Madison, Wisconsin, and Texas. We were all over the map. And that was Iron Sisters Iron Sisters USA and Iron Sisters Strength Camp. And of course, this damn COVID has put a little prick in our sails. But we'll be back. We will be back, and we will afford the opportunity for more women. We've had well over 400 women that's participated in Strength Camp. And Iron Sisters is more than just Strength Camp. It's the building of the community, not unlike your own. It's the taking what you've learned, right, and sharing it with those around you. What it allows is for people to kind of come back to the source, so to speak, right, and get kind of energized from being around, those other like-minded women. And I'm a strong believer in an online presence, of course, but I'm a really strong believer in an in-person, when we have that, you talk about your energy, you talk about the energy that Sue talks about. Yeah, a lot of this stuff goes on in our mind, but when we physically are together, it's better. It's better. And so Iron Sisters will continue to have a physical presence, but we're growing the online presence as well. And so, because like you alluded to earlier, look at where your speakers are coming from. Look at how we can just, right? Yeah. So that's Iron Sisters in a nutshell. Strength to go it alone, but sisterhood is better. And it's all about just continuing to evolve our knowledge, our education, our ability to learn, and our strength.
And I think that's why I'm drawn to you and Iron Sisters, because I didn't have a community when I was like kind of like diving through powerlifting, CrossFit, like I was trying to figure out what was going to fit me. And when I was, the first time I touched the barbell in 2019, the reason why I did it is because I was tying my shoes and I couldn't get to my shoes. And I went to my home gym and I said, you know what, I'm going to do powerlifting. So I looked at the trainers and I signed up with this one girl. She was a young girl, and she's like, Larnie, you should try a mock meet. Just try it. Just see if you like it. I'm like, okay. And she ended up going back to grad school. So I had to transition to the coach I have now. And I only had maybe like 3 months to train for this mock meet.
Perfect.
And when I did it, oh my goodness. When you're talking about community and that energy that is around during training, during like just talking with people in general, oh my God, that is the reason why I still powerlift. Is because I'm able to connect with all these women and all these people, and the energy is so positive. Yes. And I love that. And I know, do you have anything planned for like the next end of 2021 or 20? Do you believe we're already talking about 2022?
Right.
That's 2022. Do you think you guys will be back to do anything?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's some differences between what's going on in Canada, what's going on in the U.S. with vaccines, travel, even just regulations. My gym, my personal business has been we're still closed. In our third lockdown. So things are progressing here, but that makes it very difficult to plan. And yet, You know, we've got sort of the Iron Sisters courses, the Strength Camp courses. You know, I had a bit of a finagling of those still to get them launched and ready to go, so that, you know, the beauty of Strength Camp has been over the years to be able to record, not unlike what you're doing, recording all your interviews, because there's so much knowledge, so much good stuff that's come out over the years. So those are being packaged up so that folks can take their own time and educate themselves, you know, when we do have things like this that happen. So nothing is planned save for the launch of those Iron Sisters Strength Camp courses. Fingers crossed, we're sort of into August and September for that. But we'll be back for Strength Camp, at least a Canadian version for sure. We may even push to do a little bit of a mini one day toward the end of 2021. If I can go back to your I know you like us to kind of just, you know, talk a little bit more about what we're doing, but I want to give you and your listeners something, you know, a bit of my my wisdom, so to speak. I use that word loosely, okay? Wisdom. So when competition, the act of competition can be really difficult for people, right? It's not difficult for me because I've been an athlete, competitive my whole life. But what I've realized is for most people, understanding how to be in a competition, right, for themselves is really, really tough. But I've learned that, like anything in my life, you know, there is a time and purpose for sort of internalizing, for gaining confidence, you know, for feeling good about what you're doing, you know, for thinking and perhaps even overthinking. But then there's a time to actually just go and be, and, you know, and look outside of yourself and look into the experience. I don't, some people might say, oh yeah, but Frances, if I'm not, you know, hyper-focused on myself, like, you know, maybe I won't do my best. I would say it's going to be the opposite. If you look a little bit outside of yourself, and allow yourself to experience, like you have, the energy, look at what other people are doing, enjoy what other people are experiencing too. When you go out and you're on that platform, and where you're back, you know, in the warm-up room, and if these terms are foreign to people because they've never competed, that's okay. That's okay. Know that there's a whole other world that happens, you know, both on the powerlifting platform and behind, right? But I really believe that if you just get outside of yourself and outside of your own head and allow yourself to experience. So don't take yourself too seriously, especially with your first few competitions. So do like you did, a mock meet. That's also code for us involved in powerlifting as coaches, as I'm going to sneak this in and I'm going to, like, you know, hook, line, and sinker. Okay. But the reality is, and if you don't like it, that's okay. Because I have plenty of folks that have either done a mock meet or done a meet and said, I ain't never doing that again. And I try not to take that personally, because I think, was it me? Did I, right? Was I? But the reality is, yeah, like test it, right? And if you're struggling with the competing side, right, in terms of maybe being too anxious and so on and so forth, go do it and just and be there for the other people, okay? And I think you'll perform better. Like you were talking earlier with Sue about how you were, like, so angry. That's part of a learning thing too, right? So do you want to be angry gal or tough gal? Or, you know, me, I'm a little bit zen and performance gal. Like, I go into my sort of my bodybuilding, like, routine things. Like, Frances, it looks like you're choreographing your. I said, I am. But we are. I have a method to my madness, right? And so we all will figure that stuff out. But those are the fantastic and fun things that can also come out of competing, because it's not just about going and lifting more than last time, or, you know, doing my best, or winning, or getting an award, or those are all good things too. But there's so many more things that if we just part of that is our thinking. If we just approach it maybe in a different way, it's amazing what we can experience.
I love that you said that. Allow yourself to experience. That is, I have that. That's on my notebook here because I agree. And that to like step outside of yourself, that does take that mind strength to, you know, it's almost like let's sit in it. Let's feel it. Let's understand. Let's feel it. So I love that you said allow yourself to experience it, because I think that is very important to building that strength and, you know, building that confidence, because then you know what it feels like.
Yeah.
You know? And then it gives you that idea to choose.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You do have a choice in how you want to compete. You know, you don't have to look like the other person. You don't have, right? So there's also some folks might say, oh, that's just good stuff for beginners, because, you know, as you get more on, like, you should just be focusing on like bettering your numbers, or no, you know, we because of the ebb and flow of training and our bodies and age and so on, like, we never know how we're gonna show up on a given day, right? Whether it's training or competing, right? We just don't know. And then there's other factors. And if you're traveling to a meet that's far away, a nationals or an internationals, or if you got to make weight, or if you this, that, and the other thing, like, it doesn't matter. Beginner, advanced, like, all of the principles, you know, I think too, as a coach, I've evolved to not only want to teach the physical, right? To teach the performance, physiological, the neurological, right? But the psychological and the mindset stuff, you know, and as an athlete, you can participate with that with your coach. And it's a huge aspect. It's a huge aspect of, you know, it's learning how to pivot. What do you do when something goes wrong? What happens if, you know, you don't know about the officials that show up on that particular time? You're like, you know, you're getting red lighted. You're about to bomb out of a competition and not even get a chance to, you know, do your favorite deadlift at the end of the meet. Like, you're laughing because you've experienced it. I've experienced it. Yes. Board, right? So there's so many things, but don't let all of the details. Now I'm talking to the folks that are listening and to you, but don't let all the details of, wow, it sounds so complicated, right? Like we said, jump in, try it, test it, right? And then just stay open to the possibilities. The beauty of powerlifting and what I have seen in the last, you know, 25, almost 30 years now of just strength in general. And there's an amazing group that you have to be 40 plus and over to know this, to be in the Facebook group, Old Ladies Lift. And Lenny, I don't know how old
I'm
you
on that group. Yes.
Are you on that group? Okay. Yes. Okay. Sorry, I'm pointing. So what you see is just these amazing women that are like, I've never seen such thing, you know, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80-year-olds that are involved in some way, shape, or form with the barbell, bodybuilding, strength training, powerlifting, strong women, just doing something related to the barbell or strength. And it's this evolution, and it's a lifetime thing. So we don't have an expiration date on this.
Yes.
Okay?
Totally. 100%.
Yeah, and we can ebb and flow with this. So even with COVID, I said, like, hey, so what? So we're not competing. Oh, well, like, go pick up whatever you have. Go make it. And so many people did. And that was so encouraging to see too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Frances, tell everybody how to find Iron Sisters, if they have questions for you or anything like that. And to find out, like, when the next ones are coming up. Where can they find you?
Ironsisters.ca, okay, because we're Canadian and ironsisters.com was taken. Ironsisters.ca is the website. If you scroll down, you'll probably find you might get a pop-up from the Iron Sisters community, so you can sign up there. So that would be very appreciated. Facebook, there's /Iron Sisters, right? So we've got our group there. We do have a private Facebook group, but that's solely reserved for those, you know, 400 plus that have been to some form of event or purchased, you know, courses and so on online at Iron Sisterhood on Instagram. So please follow me there as well. And so if you come on one of those platforms, then the easiest thing to do would be just send me a message. So at Iron Sisterhood on Instagram, Iron Sisters on Facebook, ironsisters.ca. is the website, and you can sign up for our community, and we'll keep you posted, because the Strength Camp courses, I'm excited to share those with you. And who knows, maybe in your next event in October, I think you're running another event coming up. What we'll do is do some giveaways of the courses, and perhaps, you know, we can continue to share with your community too, because we'd love to, you know, the more the merrier. And this is about just, you know, surrounding ourselves and growing, and, you know, strength in numbers, so that we can, you know, bring up that next generation. So it's not so weird to see, you know, a 70 or 80-year-old, you know, walking around strong, and right. Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
100%. Well, thank you so much, Frances, for hopping on today. I know you're like moving and stuff like that. Sure. So I'm like glad that you were able to hop on and share this, because again, your mission, your vision for strength in women is something that I also like fall into as well. I want to, you know, I want to make sure every woman is a lot stronger than they think they are, mentally and physically, and all that just kind of coincides. So thank you so much for hopping on. I appreciate it.
Quick screenshot, Larnie.
Yes. Here
we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Got it. Good.
Yes.
Thank
you so much, Frances. Again, everyone, I will put all her contact information in the chat, so you can get a hold of her, and you can see all that information in the Strong and Mighty group. So I am so thankful to have you on, Frances, and have a great day. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I will definitely continue to connect with you, because I feel like there's so much I can like just sit here and talk, like listen to you talk like this.
I love it. But I like listening too. So next time I'll introduce you. All right.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Frances. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye. Oops. Okay, you guys, we have our next guest, Julia Piotta. Yeah. So I am so excited to have her on as well. But also I wanted to first say thank you to Frances for coming on and sharing her insight about competition, about women's strength, about just being strong in general. And her Iron Sisters, I've got on her page a few times. And, you know, when there is an event that is going to be close to me here in the US, I'm totally going to go. I may even just make a trip up to Canada, because I've never really been to Canada. So let's see here. So thank you, Frances. All right, so I have my next guest, Julia Piotta. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can barely hear you. Let me do this real quick. Hold on. Let's try this one more time. There we go. There she is, the beautiful Julia Piotta.
All right.
Hi. I can't hear you.
I just wanted to ask how our connection is, if you can hear me or not.
I can hear you a little bit. You are kind of cutting in and out at the moment.
Okay, how is that? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but okay, you're kind of cutting in and out. Okay. All right. All right, Julia, talk. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, Larnie. Can you hear me? I just want to make sure that this connection is working, because you're a bit choppy on my end.
You are okay so far. You're okay so far.
Okay, good. Just let me know. Let me know.
All right. So, Julia, thank you for hopping on the Standing in Strength Summit. I'm so glad you're here. Julia is one of my new friends that I've made in the virtual world, and we actually got to meet each other in Arizona when we did the Emerge Media experience with Crystal Richardson. And her story of strength is amazing, and that's why I am bringing her on today, because she has a cool, like, for me, she has a cool story. I've heard it many times, but I think it's a really cool story. So, Julia, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from, and give us a little tidbit.
Sure. So my name is Julia. Thank you, Larnie, for having me on. I'm from Green Bay, Wisconsin. And just a little bit of a background on myself. I'm a life coach. And the snapshot of what got me on this path of becoming a life coach is I became very frustrated with my dating experiences, which ended up propelling me forward. The frustration was my fuel for me to start gaining knowledge on how I could change my patterns. So I immersed myself in reading tons of books, listening to a ton of podcasts, YouTube videos, anything that I could get my hands on to change my dating experiences. So, attracting the wrong men was something that I wanted to put an end to. So I stuffed myself with knowledge. And little did I know at that time, these books that I was reading were going to propel me in this whole new direction of learning about myself and experiencing transformation. So you'll always hear me talk about this book that's called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And that was my catalyst to help, push me to a brand new level. I would say that it gave me this awakening that I could go about life in a completely different way than I was, because I was super negative. I always worried. I had suffered from 10 years of anxiety, and learning these new things, about changing your thought processes and, forgiving your past and learning to heal and move forward, really gave me a lot of wonderful knowledge. And that brought me to the point where I'm like, hey, everybody else needs to know this information. Anyone else, that's struggling with pain and suffering, I just wanted to get it out into the world. So that's when I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to become a life coach. And that kind of got me on this path. And a lot more things kind of led me and took me even deeper into this. And I'll kind of allow you to ask questions if you want me to share at a deeper level. But that is the catalyst of what brought me on this path. So
Julia, let me ask you this. Like, when you were in that struggle, when you were in the struggle to find your inner strength, your inner power, what was it? What was the turning point? What was your pivotal moment that you were just like, you know what? I'm going to become this amazing Julia that we see today.
So the pivotal moment was when I actually found out that there was a different way. So that pivotal moment in that process was a breakdown point of looking at my parents in a different light as I was going through this meditation. And it was, you could see, your parents have been through a lot of stuff in their lifetime, and basically everything they've learned, they've handed down to you. And a lot of times people can build up a lot of resentment, anger or bitterness, and lots of unforgiveness towards either their parents or anyone that hurt them in their past. But that was my pivotal. You don't have to carry this baggage around anymore. You can lighten your load. You can forgive. You can view them with a whole new perspective, and be grateful for who they were, and having this moment in life now that I could change, that I could experience something new. And it was this newfound freedom of learning to forgive and to really use my past as just that something that you can look at that got you to where you are, but then you could let it go. And it's just an awareness factor now.
So when you have, we've talked about, like, I'm the power lady and I love to lift heavy things and everything. When you found your power, when you found your strength, how did you share that with everybody? How did you all of a sudden decide, you know what, I'm going to be a life coach, but now you have these clients that you're helping. Like, what is it? Like, how do you share your power, your strength with them?
So how I share it is basically I've created a program, that has all the tools and then some that I've learned along my path. But as far as how I'm helping them, it's having this simple conversation and finding out what someone actually want to experience in their life, but then uncovering, things maybe from their past that happened to them that are actually holding them back. And all of this is going to come down to your mindset, because everything that we've learned, along our path, it's taken us so far. But what we think about those things, those circumstances that happen to us, that is where we can get hung up on things. So for me, it's really peeling the layers of that onion and getting to why is the person, the way they are, but it helps them to gain awareness then. They don't have to hang on to it. They can use it as like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense, why I act this way, or why I talk this way, or why I'm keeping a guard up in my relationships. So getting to a point of, it gives you like that bird's eye view of like, okay, I understand this, but now it's safe for me to release these old, patterns, these old habits and behaviors, and move forward into this new vision that I'm trying to create.
So I know you and I have talked like outside of this, and we're talking about how to really understand ourselves and to care about ourselves is important to care for others. Like, we got to take care of ourselves before we take care of others. And when you have your programs, like, is there something that you can share where you had to build yourself and love yourself first before you're starting to help other people? Like, was there that one thing you're like, I need to fix this first?
Okay, I apologize. It was a bit choppy on my end, but just to make sure I heard that correctly, did you say that you want me to share something that I needed to work on within myself?
Yes.
Before I could help other people?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Sorry, little tech difficulties, so I apologize, everyone. As far as something that I knew I needed to work on with myself, this is huge. I really want to say two things, but I'll say surrender. Surrender was huge. It was huge. And I think surrender, I'm just going to throw this out there for everyone. If you have anxiety, surrender was a huge step in, calming this anxiety down and trusting that I could move forward and having that faith that, so I believe, in a higher power, I believe in God. But I thought that having faith and surrender in something greater than yourself, that is what I needed to have that deeper connection with in order to be able to move forward. Because how could I help someone else if I didn't have that? So I learned that a lot. And that was something that I owe to going through really my devastating breakup. If I didn't go through that I think is what really got to a deeper understanding of what surrender is. Because most people tell you, oh, just let it go. If you're hung up about what's happening in the past, the best advice that people are going to tell you these days is like, oh, just let it go, move on. And for me, I had to learn that one. That was a tough one, but it was a good one.
So when people say, oh, just let it go, but really, are you letting it go? It's like, you really have to look at it and face it. It's like answering those really hard questions, because if you don't answer the hard questions, they're going to be in the back of your mind, and you end up trying to answer them yourself, instead of asking the person, or asking pretty much like, what was the lesson in the whole, relationship. It's like, you have to almost really face yourself. And that word, when you say surrender, that was a hard one for me as well. I had to go through that. Like in the Tools of Strength program, the first part of the Tools of Strength program is taking your inner inventory, like understanding what foundation you are standing on, understanding what foundation you stand for. And like, if you don't know that, it's always going to be in the back of your mind. You're going to carry it from relationship to relationship. And, you know, the inner strength that you have is not going to be as strong, right? And so then you're carrying it on to the next person and then to the next person. So, oh, did we lose you? Okay, you're still on. I was like, did I lose you? Are you still on?
I'm here.
Oh, good. So, Julia,
But yes,
if people are looking, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I do agree with that. I mean, you do need to have that solid, healthy foundation, you know, with yourself, and you know, making like that's a lot of things that people aren't doing is really getting to know themselves, or where there might be those cracks in their foundation that need a little extra TLC. You know, before they can move on and get into a new relationship and actually be able to experience a healthy relationship. That's been a big lesson for myself, and why I feel so passionate, you know, to help other people to create healthier relationships with themselves.
That's awesome. That is exactly why the Standing in Strength Summit is here. And there are just so many journeys that everybody is talking about through all this. And I just love that there is people can relate. People can relate to all these things, especially, you know, crappy relationships with other people, you know, but really that relationship starts with you. The relationship starts with who you are inside, and, you know, building yourself up to be the strongest version of yourselves. So I'm just like so excited that you are here to talk about that. So, Julia, how do people find you? How do people find you if they want to connect with you, have more questions, etc.? How do they find you? If you're still on, are you still on?
Yes. So they can find me. I'm on. Yep. Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to keep talking, and I apologize.
Just keep talking.
Okay, technology today. So you can find me. My name is Julia Piotta. Last name spelled Piechota, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I have a personal page and my business on Facebook where you can find me and follow. And I also have a Facebook group called Becoming Badass. And as far as my Instagram, you can find me under my name. It would be underneath Becoming Julia _ life coach.
Awesome. Awesome. I'll make sure to put all that information so everyone can connect with you, because that is what we want to do with the Standing in Strength Summit, is connect everyone. Because again, people are going through journeys. People are going through these new transitions and transformations of themselves. And sometimes we need to know where to look, and we need to have the strength to look and ask and understand that we are not alone. And so I will make sure to put that information for you, Julia, so people can connect with you. So thank you for hopping on this morning. I appreciate it. You know, Julia, you've become one of my really good friends. And so now I'm just like, okay, we got to make sure we connect all the time. But so thank you so much for hopping on. I appreciate it. Get that internet fixed up there in Wisconsin.
I know, and they said that they were upgrading around here, so I feel like they haven't upgraded it. And it's a bit disappointing, so I apologize.
Oh, that's okay, because I'll hop you into another event, that. So anyway, all right, everybody, this is Julia Piotta. She is a life coach. If you want to get a hold of her, I will put all her contact information on the comments and in the Strong and Mighty group, so you guys can connect. She has great information and great insight on building the best life that you have and building the best relationship you have with yourself. So thanks, Julia. I will talk to you soon. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Larnie. Have a great day as well.
Bye. Woo! Woo, woo, woo. I love Julia's story of overcoming that relationship that she had, not only the deep one from her family, the deep one from her relationship with her ex-fiance, but now how she built her relationship with herself and is living the strongest and most powerful version that she has right now as she continues to grow and share with others. So again, thank you, everyone who is still on here on the live. Thank you for being here. I am Larnie Mulvey. I am the Power Lady, and I am here to make sure that we are connecting each other with positivity, with building each other's confidence, and also building the community out there for the collective to be the most powerful and most positive side for everyone, because we all need that positivity, and we need to make sure we're continuing to build that. So my next guest is Dr. Tony Bear. She has a really cool story. I loved talking with her when we first met. It was such an amazing conversation, and I was like so grateful that she is hopping on. She just got back from Costa Rica, guys. She just got back from Costa Rica. She's like, I don't know if I'll be back from Costa Rica, but I will be. So I'm going to hop on your summit. So I'm going to bring her on to have her introduce herself and talk about who she is and the strength that she has started with her podcast, and all the information that you can to all the valuable information that she shares and that she has shared with me. I've been on her group page, and it's just amazing the things that she is contributing to the community. So I'm going to bring her on here.
Hey.
There she is. There she is. How are you, Tony? How are you? Do I call you Dr. Tony, or do I just call you Tony?
Just call me Tony.
Just call me Tony.
Just call me Tony. Most people just call me Tony. The doctor thing is a doctor in education. I've been a professor and teacher and educator in many different forms for almost 40 years. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is my 39th. I just finished my 39th year of teaching. I'm going into my last 40th year this year.
Wow. And that's it, right? This is your last year? Is this your retirement year?
And the reason I started an online presence during COVID is I don't want anyone else to wait 58 years to be their authentic self. I want to share what I've learned over this lifetime of not just academic research and teaching, but my own personal story as well, because I've had to live two lives for a very long time.
Wow.
And, I feel at the end of my 50s, I'm coming out, and I'm coming out hard. And this whole online presence is all about that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I think that is why you and I had connected, because I started my business just last year, but it's taken me like 30 years to get the courage and to get the strength to do this. And, hiding myself, hiding my true self from everybody because I was nervous. I was afraid. I was like, oh my God, what are people going to say about me? But I totally agree with not waiting.
Yeah. Yeah. I was so happy when you came on my podcast because I wanted everyone to hear the message that you can be big and strong and powerful, that the whole idea, growing up as a woman in Western culture is to shrink, to be small, to be petite, to be like this little hourglass. And if you have that body, good for you. But for those of us that do not, it's a constant source of stress, disappointment, depression, isolation. And for me, it's been the avoidance of activities I love in shorts and bathing suits, etc. So I really thought it was powerful when you came in my group and you talked on my podcast about being big and having strength and building yourself, not shrinking yourself.
Yeah, it's funny when we're talking, like I get asked that, like, oh, like being big, what does that mean? And I'm just like, I want to be as big as I can so I can walk sideways through the door, and that's just my physical strength, but I want my energy to be bigger as well.
Yeah.
And that really takes a lot of courage to build that. And like we talked about the I built her attitude, and we have to make sure that we're building ourselves and living our truth and knowing inside and out who we are.
Right.
And I think that's very important. So
Well, you are an inspiration, Larnie. Folks in my group on Facebook are buying your book, and I see some of them are watching right now. Your charisma is contagious.
well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So in your bio, I'm reading this right now. It's you mentor the women to live their truth, discovering their fluidity of their own sexuality. And I feel like sometimes that is like that taboo word. And, to me, like sexuality doesn't just mean sex. Sexuality means our comfort in ourselves, our comfort in what we see, our comfort in being a woman.
Right.
So can you dive into that just a little bit more?
Okay. Never ask a professor to dive in because time flies, right? So I will keep it brief. I won't dive too deep. So I'm a sexologist, and at the university, I teach history, and I teach people how to teach history. I teach people how to teach, and I also am women, gender, sexuality studies professor. And what I generally teach is the history, culture, politics of sexuality. But learning what they don't know, and the reason why I'm developing this online presence is there's a lot of experience that I have that I've had to hide simultaneously. That in order to be promoted as a professor, you are voted on by your peers. So their attitudes and their values are biases that go into their voting, right? Whether you get a pay raise or not. So I've lived this double life. Well, what I have done, and the reason I've created this online presence during COVID and beyond is, the research says that over 41% of those that go to a therapist keep secrets from their therapist. And we don't want our therapist to think poorly of us. So I want to bring the topic of sexuality into the fold because people are hiding it even from the people that they tell secrets to. Also, life coaches, I think, are wonderful, and I have one as well. I think every coach should have a coach. I also have a business coach. I also have a physical trainer. I have my own personal team that works with me to be the best version of me. But I do coaching with women about their sexuality because I have the experience. I've created worldwide women's groups, women's support groups, facilitating workshops, retreats, things that we do in private where we tell secrets, right? And talk about them and help women move to the next level. The reason for all this, Larnie, is because I believe I'll put up like a little pie chart here. A lot of us are out of balance. Now, I was a high school teacher and coach at one time. I coached basketball, track, hockey. I worked out, I lifted weights, but my personal life was a mess. My professional life was great as a teacher. My coaching was great. I knew how to work out, but the whole relationship part and my fantasies and my actual life had this huge difference that made me depressed and made me hide things. And I had no one really to talk to. And when you go to a therapist, they really don't have the experience to help you with your sexuality. They'll talk to you about your childhood and process through kind of question answers, but they don't have the knowledge. And most life coaches don't have the knowledge. So my goal is to help women come into balance with their relationships, but more specifically with their sexual expression. And I don't see working with me as a coach as a lifelong process. It's a process to get back into balance
Yeah.
and to move forward. And every year when I choose who's going to coach me, I look at what part of my life is the most out of balance. And then I hire someone to help me get that piece of the pie equal and strong to the rest of the pieces of pie.
Wow, I love that. I love that visual of, that's what's that missing piece and what do you have to fill it with, but also identifying that there is something missing, because that, I think, to me, when I'm talking about all the realms of strength, and I'm talking about like the mental and health and wellness side, that we have to think about, like, some people, they just, that's the missing piece, that mental side. We have to find that strength to fill it, and we have to be not afraid to ask. We have to not be afraid to actually, like, vocalize it, and that really intertwines with, like, our businesses. Like you say, you have your business coach and everything. We have to find that team that helps us, and I think that is a
Right.
wonderful way to put it.
Right. I have a medical team, right? I have, you
Mhm.
know, I have diabetes, so I have a diabetic doctor,
Oh, me
right? An
too.
endocrinologist, right? I also have a primary care person. I also had a fall, so I have a neurologist now. There's a team to take care of my body. I also have a team to take care of my mind and a team to take care of my physical. And where to start? I think you need someone that is going to take a look at everything comprehensively. And from my understanding, that's what your program, Larnie, is about. It's a comprehensive kind of approach. And I do a comprehensive approach too with your sexuality, right?
Mm,
So
mm,
if
mm.
you find yourself reading erotic novels and looking at the fantasies and reading the stuff and having fantasies in your head and you have no idea how to actually actualize that, you can. And what I do is I teach people how to make their fantasies come true or how to come out in your sexuality. Or
That is cool.
my specialty is also sacred sexuality, how to connect to something larger than yourself in a very sacred way
Mhm.
um, through your sexuality.
So when you're talking about, like, that connecting and like understanding your sexual, getting those fantasies out, do you find that sometimes it takes really that strength, that inner strength, to get in touch with that?
Yeah. I mean, I look at pictures of myself. I'm, in my upper 50s. And I look at the periods of time in my life where everything on the surface was going well, the career, the family, etc. But when I had a disconnect inside between fantasy and reality and where to find it and how to find it, I was troubled. And I see pictures of myself getting my face getting bigger and bigger and bigger, my body, but not in a strength way, but in like a bloated way. Stress takes a horrible kind of toll on our body and our mind and our spirit. So having the strength, the inner strength to say, you know what? Look at the picture of me. That's not me. That face is disconnected. I'm looking beyond the camera. I'm kind of disassociating. Or I'm really depressed. I feel isolated, kind of helpless.
Mm-hmm,
I need
mm-hmm.
to have the strength to go to somebody to help with my confidence to move forward to have the life that I want.
That's awesome. It's like this part of the summit is getting people to connect, getting people to connect with other people like you and the other speakers who are coming on, because, like, I've talked about it throughout the summit already, where when I was coming up through this journey for myself, I had to really dig deep inside myself and be like, Larnie, you need help. Larnie, you need to ask. Larnie, you need to figure this out, because you can't do it by yourself. Do you feel like some of the people that you talk to, they're like afraid to ask? or afraid to open up to other people, like just like tell someone about themselves? Like, what do you think about, what is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I deal mostly with sexuality, and folks are embarrassed. They're embarrassed. They feel shame. They feel guilt. All of those things are obstacles that you have to get through. And that's why we do mindset work with obstacles before we move to looking at possibilities or actualizing experiences, or, actually enjoying some of the activities that you want to do. Right. So yeah, it takes strength on the front end, but it's flipping the mind at first, right? That's the first step.
Yes. So what is the first step when you're working with people to find and understand their truth?
Right.
What is it that you start people with?
Right. So I created a process called slay, because you want to say it to slay it, right? Slay it, meaning getting rid of the bad stuff, but slaying it also means, in the Urban Dictionary, like positive. I'm slaying it, right? So it all depends how you say it, right? Slay it. So S stands for seeing obstacles. That's where we start. And I understand you do some of that work as well. And I think that's really important to do on the front end. And with myself, with sexuality, a lot of times we don't see the biases that we have, or the blocks that we have, inhibitions. Like somebody, I'm in a giveaway right now in my group. One of the things I'm giving away, I'll call them massagers, right? I can't use the other word on Facebook. Um, and somebody said, "Well, I don't use sex toys." Well, why not? I'm not saying you should, but what is the obstacle? So that's the first thing. Second, the L means for look for possibilities. L is look, right? So we do an inventory of different sexual practices, sexual ideas. Like maybe we're not looking outside of the box that we kind of grew up in, right? And then A for slay stands for actualize experiences, right? So I spend a lot of time talking about confidence and consent and safety, right? Before we venture out there to actually do whatever your fantasy is, right? I showed up on many of internet dating sites, and I put myself in dangerous situations multiple times, and I knew better. But when it's yourself, like, it's really good to talk about those things for the A, for actualizing.
Yes,
And
yes.
last but not least is the why, which I had a hard time finding a word for why. So I came up with yield. We yield to the joyful connections that we make. And that yielding is to not just yourself and self love, but love with a mate and a partner, and also love the universe and community and something much larger than ourself. So, sacred sexuality is one of my favorite topics, and that's why I was in Costa Rica. And I could talk about that if you want me to. But I think it's really important to yielding to something much bigger than one orgasm, right?
True, very true. You know, it's interesting how sometimes that can drive people to dive into relationships that don't work for them, you know. And I was in one of those way back in the day. I was in one of those relationships, and it took a lot of courage for me to break away from
Yeah.
that. It took a lot of confidence in myself to know that I was worth more, to break away from that kind of relationship. And once I broke away from that, things changed for me, because that, you know, you were saying like yield to joyful connections. And I really believe in the energy of, you know, what brings you joy? What is bringing you joy? And if an event, or if a person, or if it's, that energy is not bringing me a joyful feeling for myself, I have to choose to not be around it. I have to choose to make sure that I'm choosing what's right for me, and making sure that we can, that, you know, who wants to be who wants to be, who wants to not have any joy in their life, you
Right.
know? So we have to be very strong in that. Um, so Tony, like what encouraging word can you leave with our listeners today
Well,
when it comes to like being strong in ourselves? What encouraging word can you leave today?
right. I think I would say that, you know, I have a webinar called Manifesting Your Romantic Dreams, where I talk a lot about what you just mentioned. Um and I keep saying throughout that webinar, you have the power. You have the choice
Yes.
to create the life that you want. Yes, there are situations and shit hits the fan and life happens, and you might have a half a dozen children and you have an over zealous mother. You could have, like, that's life. You have a mean boss. You don't have enough money, but you have a choice to make the time and place to have the joyful connections in life that you want, and that includes your sexuality. There is nothing that is beyond you. You have the power.
I love that. I love that. And again, with when it comes to this summit, connecting people to all all this information that you have given us, it's amazing because we do have the power. We have the choice. We have the power. We have the ability to build the strongest version of ourselves. And I think that's really, really important, because without us, how are we supposed to help others? Like I was just telling the other speakers, it's like, how are we supposed to help others if we're not helping ourselves and living our true lives? Like we can't, I don't want to share the fakeness. Like I want to make sure I'm sharing my true self with everyone, sharing my true energy, my positive energy with everyone that comes into contact with me, because that just builds the collective, that just builds the positive collective pot, and just continue to put the positivity in there. So Tony, how do people get a hold of you if they are looking to have your coaching and mentoring and any other questions they have about sexuality? Like, what's the best way they can get a hold of you?
I think probably Facebook or is probably the easiest way. I mean, I have a website, I have Instagram, I have all the things,
You
YouTube
sound so
channels,
excited.
and
You're like, I have all the socials.
I got all the things. But if you're on Facebook, just look up Tony Bear, and my profile is a bear print. I made it very different. It's a bear print, and just send me a message. Or if you go to my business page, which is Dr. Tony Bear, you can send a message there as well. I read all my stuff. I wish I had a business team. I do not. I am a solopreneur.
Not yet. Not
Right?
yet.
Right? So I get everything. So I will definitely respond. Right now I have a trip going to Costa Rica. That's what I'm
Talk about that
trying
real
to
quick.
talk people. It's a sacred sexuality workshop through intuitive art. I'm also an artist. So I'm having people intuitively create their own piece of art while in Costa Rica having all these wonderful experiences. It's a luxury retreat. It's in a mansion with its own pool, and we go do, a private chef, in-house massages. I mean, it is exquisite, absolutely exquisite. But if you're more interested in something down and dirty and free, come to my Voyages of Aphrodite Facebook group. That's a good place to start learning about my courses and coaching and stuff. It's called Voyages of Aphrodite
Yes. Which is a
because we
cool group.
can't use any other name on Facebook.
Well, Tony, I am wanting to say thank you for hopping on today. I have so many other questions, and I'm pretty sure I have another summit scheduling out in October, and I really hope you can jump on that as well, because there's so much information that we have talked about that, like, I don't have time to ask you all these other questions, but I know I could probably talk to you forever.
Can I give a free gift to your audience?
Oh, yes, you may.
I will give you a link. I'll send it to you privately. It's Aphrodite's 14 love tips. And it's
Ooh.
inspired by our group and sharing things that work for them to make their love life special. And I'm not talking weird shit, okay? I'm talking just things that enhance a love relationship, and some of them you can do by yourself. You don't need a mate. So I'd like to
Oh,
give you that download. It's a graphic. I put all the information on one sheet.
yes, that'll be awesome. I mean, I'm pretty sure the listeners will be very excited to get that because I know as soon as I get, I'm going to totally look at it first.
Okay.
So, well, Tony, thank you so much for hopping on. I'm totally over my broadcast time, but that's okay. It's my broadcast. I'm going to do what I want. I'm just kidding.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I was wondering when you eat and pee during this day, but I see there's a break coming up now.
There is a break, so I can eat right after this, and I could finish my coffee and stuff. And any of the information that the speakers have, I'm going to just like plop it on there in the Facebook group. So, Tony, thank you so much for hopping on today. I really 100% truly appreciate it. And you guys, make sure you go check out Voyages of Aphrodite, the Facebook page. I was just on there. I did a live on there for Dr. Tony. I keep calling you Dr. Tony because it sounds really cool. for Dr. Tony, and go on there. There's so much cool information and connection. So make sure you guys hop on there. And if there's any other questions for Dr. Tony, I'll make sure to put all the information to reach out to her as well. So thank you so much, Dr. Tony. I appreciate it. You
Thank
have
you.
a wonderful day, and I will definitely talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye. Guys, oh my gosh, I totally went over time by 10 minutes. I apologize, but there is just so much amazing content and amazing information that our speakers are hopping on and sharing. So just like Dr. Tony says, she is going to have a giveaway for a love tip sheet that she will give me, and I'll make sure to post that onto the group page so you guys can have, and then have all the speakers that we're joining on today have their speaker tile so you guys can get more information about them. So that was the morning session, and oh my goodness, that was so awesome to have everybody on and sharing their stories, sharing their journeys. It was amazing. I loved it. So this session is commencing right now in a few minutes. The next session will be starting at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you guys know your time zones. And we will start at 5 o'clock. Come back to the Strong and Mighty page here and follow along with the rest of the speakers. You guys have a great morning, and I will see you guys this afternoon. Have a great morning. Bye.